Hi, everyone, and welcome to our second interview on the Unstoppable Clients series. I'm so excited you're here. I've got the lovely Paige Finstad here, and she's going to introduce herself, and then we have a beautiful conversation that's just going to be free-flowing for you to listen to, receive, enjoy, and at the end, she'll tell us all about her beautiful work and how you can learn more about her and what she does. So, Paige, over to you. Tell us about you and your business.
I'm Paige Finstad. Thank you for having me. So excited to be here and to gush about the mastermind. So I'm a life and mindset coach. So I help people make changes to their life primarily by understanding and shifting their mindset. So doing thought and belief work and moving from a state of force into more of a state of flow. So moving away from the old way of thinking that says, that we need to get or achieve or become something in order to feel like we're enough, and instead helping women ground into their inherent enoughness and worthiness and then create changes in their life from that state.
Amazing. And you actually left corporate and you started this business. Tell us why.
Yeah, so I was really unhappy in my corporate role. I'd been in banking and finance since I was in college, and then I got my master's in it, and then I got an internship in it, and then I went into it. And when I went into it initially, it was more from a place of financial security and safety. And then I just kind of got trapped and sucked into it, and I couldn't get out. And even though I wasn't happy in there, I kept telling myself, oh, well, I'll do something different when I figure out what it is I want to do. But there was no space or time for me to see anything else because I was so consumed with that life and so busy and running around. And so I reached a point coming up to my 30th birthday, which is your Saturn returns in astrology. I don't know
Mm,
if you know that. It's when Saturn goes back to where it was when you were born. And it's the period where you're like, what the fuck am I doing with my
yes.
life? And I was like, if not now, then when? And so I took initially a career break, and with it was so fast, like after being in the industry for nearly 10 years and saying to myself, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know what I want to do. And then after taking a career break, it was only a couple of months where I was like, I've literally been interested in psychology since I was in college. I wanted to go into psychology, but I didn't want to switch from business because I was like, oh, it will take too much time. And here I am 10 years later, still so obsessed with all things personal growth and spirituality and personal development. And so it was so obvious. And so I spoke to a number of people in the industry, therapists and coaches, and just got an idea of what are the different professions like, what are the differences. And it was so clear that coaching was it. And so then I quit. I
So
got my
good.
certification and I started my business, and it was just such a reminder of how we have to take the first step without seeing the full path ahead. Because if you just trust in that first step, then the next step will keep presenting and keep presenting. But if you stay safe until you see all the other steps, then you're always going to stay, because we never know all the things that are going to happen, all the people we're going to meet, all of the synchronicities and everything that are going to happen.
Totally. We can't, there's that analogy of like, you just need to see the next step on the staircase, not the
Yeah.
whole staircase. So tell us why you were drawn to the mastermind and some of the challenges that you worked through, or how the work has been helping you in your business.
Okay, so I was drawn to the mastermind. I discovered you in a crystal shop when I was at the very end of what would be my corporate career now. So I was at the point where I was really deeply unhappy, and I was thinking about taking a break. And I walked into a crystal shop in Bonnet Junction after a dentist appointment, and I picked up You Are Enough. And it just landed exactly when it needed to. And I was like, and then I saw that you were an Australian, and I was like, she's in Australia. And I looked you up, and yeah, I just have loved you ever since. So that was really it was such a big catalyst. And looking back at it now, it was right at that time, right before I took the break. And so then once I became a coach, I always knew that I wanted to work with you and be in the mastermind. And so I waited for a place for me until my business felt like it was running a bit. I wanted to wait until it felt like I'd had some clients and I'd done some work, I'd done some group workshops so that I could come to it with that knowing and understanding and debriefing. And so I'd set myself a little goal target of I'll join the mastermind when, and I was so excited to join this September. And what were a couple of my challenges? So the two big things I've been working on through the course of the mastermind were calling in clients and belief in myself as a coach. And I love that the mastermind is obviously it's belief rooted. It is belief work. And so that is such a huge element of working through, well, what were the thoughts and beliefs that were keeping me, not necessarily keeping me from, well, I guess, yeah, keeping me from calling in clients, or that didn't align to my desire to call in clients, or that didn't create the energy that I wanted to be calling in clients with. And moving through that, whether it's the exercises that we have in the mastermind, whether it's in-person coaching, all of the different modalities that you have. And then I love that it's also a mix of the belief work and the really tangible, practical, like exercises, lessons, advice from you, advice from the other women in the mastermind, because we're all doing like same but different. And so one of the other women in the mastermind was so generous with her time. She has a history in marketing, and she walked me through how to set up a Google Ads campaign, and that's been really valuable to my business for calling in clients in a very like tangible way. So the mix of both of those things is what I love about the mastermind.
So good. Thank you. And can you tell us, just yesterday on our call, so to everyone listening, we start every call, we drop in, we do some grounding together, take a few breaths, and then I always offer, is there something or anything that anyone wants to celebrate or share or reflect on? And then we move into whatever the call is for that week. And yesterday I was like jumping up and down in my chair because there was just so much that you were celebrating. So do you feel happy to share with us what you were celebrating yesterday?
Yes, yesterday I was celebrating. I did a group workshop recently at the new Peaches Pilates studio in Rose Bay, which is just a stunning studio. And after the workshop, I had gotten great feedback from different attendees, and one of them is a podcast producer for Channel 9, and she reached out to me about coming on one of their podcasts, which will be so
Amazing.
fun. Yeah, you and I were saying how I've been on a few podcasts before, but they've been smaller, and this is like very formal and in a
Fancy.
studio and with the headphones and the microphone and everything. So that is really exciting, and going to do a couple of more workshops later this year, which is so fun. And then so one of the other big things that I've worked through in the mastermind is just trusting in my business and knowing like my business has my back and my business is here to support me and be here, even if I'm taking off, because I travel so much during the year. And so this next year, I remember I was making it mean that I wasn't going to be able to sign clients because I'm away in June, I'm away August, September. And I loved how you were just like, it's not a problem. It is literally not a problem. Put it on your website. Or you were like, how would it feel to just put it on your website and say that you're going to be gone? And I was like, that's so easy. And so I put it on my booking page. I'm going to be away, or on my program page, I'll be away these months. The program will extend across that time. And then I'm now totally booked
With a wait
through,
list.
yeah, with a wait list through March. And in the past couple of weeks, I had, yeah, a couple more consultations and a coaching session come in for March. And so it was such an affirmation of, even though I have closed my books for February, and even though I've closed my books for June and for August, September, my business is still there to support me. People are still coming in. And even when I'm taking time for myself, my business is still running.
Totally. And that's,
It was
I think we
lots of
can
celebration.
so much to celebrate. And there's also that piece of what you're saying with trusting your business has your back and isn't stopping when you take a break.
Mm,
And people, your potential new clients would never get mad that A, you have a wait list, and B, they have
mm,
to be on the wait list to work with you, and
mm,
C, that they might have a slightly extended program because you are going away. And so when we make it not a problem and we just communicate it
mm,
clearly, it's from a truth. You're not creating false urgency or scarcity. Like,
mm.
oh, I have a wait list, so you have to wait. It's like, no, I'm full and you just have to wait. And it's so simple and clean. And
So
your clients would
clean.
feel that. And it's just not a problem. Like if you were going to be like, I'm taking off for a year, I'd be like, that's a little bit different. Like
Yeah.
they might not go on a wait list. Well, maybe they would for a whole year.
Yeah.
But you're saying I'm taking a break, I'm on holiday, and you can still work with me. It's just that you work with me within this container, this time frame.
Mm,
It's like a clear and loving boundary. And people
mm,
respect that. And it's how
mm,
much nicer for you because now you've got the wait list, you've got clients booked in for consults,
mm,
later, and you've got this time blocked out, and you know that your business is still flowing and moving when you're on a
mm,
holiday.
mm. Yeah.
So good. So tell me what it has been like maybe a standout lesson or a module or one of your favorite tools that we've worked through together. And like Amy last week, she was like, can I have more than one? So if more than one jumps
Okay,
out, you
all
can
of
have more
them.
than one.
Yeah. So one that I really loved, and it's funny because I was looking through them yesterday in advance of this session and just reminding myself of all the goodness in there. And one of the exercises that I really loved that we worked through together is the mind, body, soul business exercise. And I didn't even actually ever implement what we used it for yet.
Yes.
And I haven't even used it again. But so the exercise is looking at something that you want advice on or perspective on, and then asking, what does my mind say about this? What does my body say about this? What does my soul say about this? What does my business say about this? And I took so much out of it going away from just the exercise. And like I said, I didn't actually implement yet what I asked for advice on, but it was such a good reminder to me of what each of those places feels like and what each of those places sounds like, knowing that very drama, mean, usually critical mind, knowing the body and how it feels to be in it and the soul and then the business, and being able to then know just as I'm going about my day what where if I'm hearing some piece of feedback or I'm feeling something, where is that coming from? What space is that? What is the wisdom of the heart or the soul? What is the wisdom of the body? What is the wisdom of the business? So yeah, I loved that one.
That's so beautiful. And Amy mentioned that one last week too as one of her
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
And it's like an adapted tool from one of my mentors, Sam Nolan Smith. And I
Mm,
love how you said that you recognize the shift in like the information that comes through in the day, and you can be like, no,
mm,
wait, that's my mind or that's from my body.
yeah.
Because that makes such a difference when you can tell what's intuition, what's the information coming from the energy of my business, what's me just
Mm,
being mean in my mind or critical or like
mm,
over analytical or whatever's coming through from the
mm,
mind. And it takes away so much of like the mind, almost I want to say mind drama of filtering through that information to take the
mm,
next step. Because if it comes through and you can tell that was a soul led, piece of
mm,
information, it feels so much easier and lighter to take that next step because
mm,
you know that's where you don't have to second guess yourself or doubt
mm,
yourself. And so much of the work we do is working with the whatever doubt comes through and trying to filter it through a lens of where is it coming from, and then
mm,
shifting it so you can take action without the doubt. Or if your doubt is like really stubborn, how do we take action with the doubt but without making it
yeah.
lead the show, like letting it
Yeah.
just sit there and not actually directing everything. So I love that.
Yeah, like seeing what the mind says and letting the mind do what the mind will do and chitter chatter, but also knowing like, okay, we don't need to follow that at all times.
Yeah. And
There's a
even like
place
with
deeper.
exactly with I remember when we were talking about you preparing for the workshop, a
Mm,
big part of it was like let's see what the mind says about just the
mm,
preparation and being prepared enough, and then let's go with what your
yeah.
body knows is true. And your body was like, I'm prepared enough. If I went and did it, like I said to you about 2 weeks before the workshop, I was like, I bet if you ran it to now, you'd be
Mm,
fine. And you're like,
mm,
yeah. And your mind took over for a minute, not took over, but dropped thoughts. And then you're like,
yeah.
yeah, no, I can see how that's true. Because the mind
Yeah.
will always be like, we need more, we need more. And our body's like, this is actually enough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been such a big theme for me in the workshop of knowing, or in the workshop, in the mastermind, of having that mix of being prepared and still preparing, but also knowing that at any given time, I am enough exactly as I am, whether I'm working with a one on one client or whether I'm leading a group workshop or whether I'm on a podcast, and trusting that whatever I say doesn't need to be the exact specific thing, that whatever that I know what I'm talking about from a deep place within me, and knowing that whatever I say is going to resonate with the people that I'm speaking to, and that it's going to land, and what I didn't say I didn't need to say, and just trusting in that, and being able to show up feeling like I'm enough.
It's so powerful. And it also helps, as we were saying, even on yesterday's call, it also helps with simply a client coaching, like one-on-one
Mm,
coaching, because you don't have to be overly prepared or have a
mm,
million tools and things to do. Like you can, as we say, like coaching is a conversation, and you can
mm,
have that conversation so effortlessly. So even
mm,
that, knowing that whatever you say on a call is enough, and however you're taking your
mm,
client through your program is enough, is also so
mm,
supportive. And it speaks to what you were saying before about you really learning to really honor and trust in the value that you
mm,
bring. And that
mm,
value is there every day, no matter what you say. Like whatever you bring to your sessions, you're bringing value to your clients, to the workshops, to a podcast interview, everything.
mm.
So great. Tell me this. How do you feel in your body after a coaching
Okay.
call? How does your body
Yeah.
feel after a coaching
Okay.
call? How does your business feel?
Oh, I love our coaching calls, and I always feel so light after, and like light but excited, like a buzzing energy. And my business feels loved and nurtured. Yeah, tended to.
That's so beautiful. And tell us if you had a piece of advice to give to someone who has been going through something similar to you. So
Mm,
maybe leaving a role, or simply moving into a place in their business where they really want to find their connection with their value more. And even something
mm,
we spoke about, I'll come back to my specific question, but something we spoke about ages ago was just showing up on social media as yourself, like
mm,
doing reels, just with less kind of effort beforehand or preparation. That was also
mm.
really important for your journey, which I can see now
Yeah.
led to like even just the enoughness in the workshop that you just
Mm,
ran. But if you had one piece of advice to give to someone going through something similar, what would you
mm.
say?
Yeah. Tapping into that heart space and trusting it, because the mind gets us confused and is like, but what about this, and what about this, and maybe this. But when we do tap into that place of inner knowing, we do know, and we know what feels good for us. And we see so much stuff that says a business needs to be like this, or you need to show up on social media like this, or there's so many resources available to new entrepreneurs or to coaches, which is in one way incredible, but it can also be overwhelming. And at the end of the day, we are entrepreneurs because we are saying that we're the leader, and we are the business. And so trusting in that, and letting however you want to do it be the way that you're going to do it, and backing yourself and letting it feel good and feel easy.
So great. And I'd love to know from you what you're working on this year. I know you're traveling a
Mm.
little bit, but tell us about your amazing work and tell us what you're working on.
So my focus this year is really on grounding into where I am. Last year was a big year of creating more, and calling in more clients, calling in more opportunities, and creating my newsletter, creating my opt-in, a lot of the like foundational work of moving from I'm starting a business to I have a business, and my business is running, and my business is in a state of flow. And now I'm in a place where my business is in a state of flow, which feels so good. And I am so happy and so full. And I don't feel like, oh, I just need to create so much more or do this or do something different. I feel so full with where I am. And so this year the focus is like grounding into that and creating more, so expanding from a place of ease. So not expanding in the sense of like, let me go out and get that thing or change this program or add this one or create a podcast, but still like keep on keeping on in the most beautiful way and doing what I do from a place of trust and love and taking everything that I am already doing and like uplifting it where I can, going in and really integrating
Yeah. Yeah.
integrating the value, that more value into what I already have rather than creating more and feeling like I'm all over the place, taking what I do have and loving on it and taking the experience that I've had from the different clients and building more into it.
I love that. And that was something that we spoke about. You were just making like, and I want to speak now to the foundational pieces that you created, but making little upgrades to things as opposed to like,
Yeah.
as you said, redoing an entire program or redoing everything every few months. It's like, no, I've got that and it's a beautiful base and I've invested so much in it and it's so valuable and
Mhm.
valueful. And now you can just make little upgrades when
Mhm.
necessary, but not from a place of, oh, that wasn't enough, I need to add more, or that
Mhm.
doesn't feel good because, oh, I need to add more so I feel like I'm a better coach or I'm
Mhm.
helping my clients enough. It's like, no, it's already enough. And I'm just making upgrades as I need to. So
Mhm.
let's talk about the foundational pieces. Let's talk about what you created
Yes.
in the last 6 months.
So
Tell us.
much. So much. So I launched my email newsletter, which again just felt was something that was on my list for so long. And it was just like it gets to be easy. It doesn't have to be weekly. It doesn't have to be on a set date. It can be whenever I want to. And letting it be easy and letting it be fun and I created my opt-in. So that, again, that was something that was on my list for so long, and I was kind of caught in the mind drama of I don't know what I want to do it on. I don't want to do like I don't want to reinvent my actual coaching program. I don't want to take away from this. There was just so many things, and I was spinning out a bit. And I remember we did it. So we did a full session in the mastermind on an opt-in, and you talked about repurposing content that you already have. And it was such a light bulb moment for me to I have this a self-compassion guidebook that's part of my coaching program resources. And so then it was like, duh, okay, great. I have all this content. And then again, I fell into like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was in Canva and I was like, this is
I need to make it perfect.
horrible and it's not my area of expertise. And I was thinking of like, if do I now need a video with it? Do I need a meditation? And again in our session you were like, how would it feel to hire a graphic designer to do that aspect? And I was like, we get to do that. That is an
I
option.
can have help.
It feels amazing and it was such a no-brainer and it just was like that and it's so beautiful. I was so
So
excited to
beautiful.
publish and also trusting in if I ever want to create a meditation, if I ever want to create a video, that's fine, but the 25-page guidebook is enough also as it is and letting it be
Fully.
enough and letting it be beautiful. And so it was, yeah, so feels so good to have created those two things that were yeah, on my in my mental load for a while and to create them in a way that was easy in a sense.
Yeah, and I think that's the piece of I mean, I love repurposing. It's like you've done the work. Like it's like past
Yeah.
Paige we celebrate her for doing this work and we use it
Yeah.
now, with joy because we don't need to we don't need to just work harder and work more. We can take
Mm.
something we've created and repurpose it. And I think that's also the piece of like you want to give something so generous in terms of how it's supportive and showing someone what it's like to work with you without giving your entire program or
Yeah.
like a 10 video mini course, which is not
Yeah.
mini, it's like massive. And then it's like, well, should I be charging for this? Like, is this too much? Like,
Yes.
not too much because we want to be
Exactly.
generous, but yeah, just
Yeah.
making the opt-in really clean and light on your system and still very generous and showing potential clients, hey, I want to give you a transformation and a shift and a change now.
Yes.
Like this introduction almost to my work is whole and complete on its own and serves a purpose. And there's a way to do this with me more deeply or for a longer time, but without it
Yeah.
taking, you as the business owner, like a year to create, because then can't be a freebie. Like it's,
Yeah. And
yeah.
yeah, and then it's also something that's not like on the outskirts, something random that you're creating just for the purposes of an opt-in. It's like this self-compassion is core and foundational to the work that I do with all of my clients. And so it's representative of it. And it's like this is part of it, whether it's a workshop, whether it's a one-on-one, this is my work. And so you're seeing it without, yeah, just creating something kind of random so that it can be a free resource.
Yes, like as a means to end, like, I'll make this just so I get your email address. Like
Yeah,
you can tell when
exactly.
someone's done that because there's no transformation in the opt-in.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's nice to give something where the client's like, oh my God, that actually changed something for
Mm.
me.
Mm.
So I love that. And I love how you're like, there was so much. You've created your wait list. Even that, as we were speaking about, was such an
Mm.
important piece of your work and the growth and stabilizing and
Mm.
not adding like too many clients to your plate at once. You had a number that feels
Mm.
amazing. You booked it, and now there's a wait list. Creating the
Mm.
newsletter in the way that's simple and easy for you and light on your system. Showing up. I remember recently one of your new clients found you through social media, and you're like, this was from
Mm.
me doing my reels, just more
Mm.
me, like just being myself. So there was that value piece, like proof that when I show up as myself and share my message and invite people to work with me, they come through and this works. And then your beautiful opt-in, and then the workshop, which is now a workshop that can be run again in other
Yeah.
ways. And that's also the
Mm.
repurposing. Like, hey, this could be a workshop that you run one day just online, or another workshop that you take
Mm.
to other businesses and corporate. Like that gets to
Mm.
be repurposed as well. So just so many
So
beautiful things.
much. All
Love
the
it.
things.
All the
Yeah.
things.
And in my just demeanor and in how I feel, which is like that's perhaps even the biggest piece is feeling good and feeling happy and feeling secure and feeling trust in myself and in my business.
I love it. It's so important. And that's the piece, right? Like feeling good inside helps you create what's outside.
Mm.
And you want to feel good inside first, because you can have all the external things and not feel great.
Yeah.
How amazing to build that base from inside first, and then that extends out into your work, because that's actually
Mhm.
what lasts. Like that feeling inside is what helps to build and stabilize. And I love your plan for this year. It's like, I'm actually going to expand and stabilize what I've already built. Like
Mm.
you've done so much work. It's like, now I get to sit in this and
Yeah.
like create this sustainable business by actually sitting in my success and
Mm.
not chasing the next shiny thing. Or then sometimes we create this version of success that we want, and we can't tolerate it, and then we quickly
Mm.
change everything. And so you're not doing that. You're like, no, I'm going to actually sit in this, what I've created,
Yeah.
and I can upgrade things as I need, but I'm not going
Yeah.
to like reinvent the wheel all of a sudden.
Yeah, such a cool feeling. It's like, I love that. I created this and I love it. How
Yeah,
cool.
I love it. So I want to ask you, if anyone was thinking about joining the mastermind, what would you say to them?
I would say, well, without knowing anything about them, I would say, do it. Yeah, it's such a beautiful container. I love being in your energy and I love being in the energy of all of the incredible other women. I'm sure at any given container, they're all incredible and they all are so loving and supportive. And it just has so much, even just the calls alone would be the full value of the mastermind. But it's like those infomercials that are like, it doesn't stop there and it doesn't stop there, because it's like then you have all these exercise, it doesn't stop there, you have so many lessons and you get access to anything that you're creating at the time, any workshops, doesn't stop there, and it just keeps going. And I love as well that we actually work, there are certain calls where we actually work on our business. So like doing the opt-in and having the writing room. And so not only are we moving through deep coaching work together, but at times we're also forwarding our business. So it's not like, oh, I have this 90-minute call, but then I have so much to do outside of it, because in some of the calls you're moving through things. And yeah, so it's everything, and it's so beautiful, and I loved being in it, and I can't wait to be in it again.
Thank you. I've loved coaching you and holding space for your beautiful business. And I also want to say just this side piece that just dropped in of, or side note of as the client and the coach really trusting the timing of when
Mm,
clients come into your containers. Because we had the discussion about you joining, I remember like a
mm,
whole year before, and the timing
yeah.
just wasn't right. And so there's just a really important piece of like, as you said, you knew when you wanted to join. You're like, I have a goal of I want my business up and running, and like
Mhm.
just I want some pieces moving before I come in. And so I'm just saying this like to anyone listening, whether you're thinking of yourself as the client or the coach, of really trusting the timing of when you join, because that's part of what you said before, learning to trust yourself. Is
So
learning to
true.
trust the timing, and when you know something is right for you, just following that nudge.
Yeah, on that, because I so wanted to be in the mastermind again because I love it so much, and then your offering had so many beautiful offerings as well. But I knew this next session wasn't the right one for me because I am traveling so much and have so many things on. Then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, probably the September timeframe will always be right for me because I travel so much in the American and North American summer, and then over Christmas and over the Australian summer, I'm actually home. And so it just makes more sense. So also trusting in that, and knowing that, yeah, just knowing the right
Yeah.
time for you.
Yeah, and I have another client who does the same. They come in, they do the September round,
Yeah.
and then like integrate and sustain, and then come in and do the September round. So it's just trusting your timing, your seasons, like what works for
Yeah.
you, and also knowing that like when you're in this for the long run, there's no rush, but and also let's take action when it's the right time for you, which is what you're
Mm.
doing. And knowing
Yeah.
when that time, like knowing how you want to build your life, which is like, hey, I travel, and then
Mm.
and I still have my beautiful business while I'm traveling, and then I come back and my focus shifts for a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, and my
Yeah.
business supports me through all of that. So beautiful. So, can you tell us where we can find you online? And I will drop the links in the
Yes.
show notes as well.
Yes. So my name is Paige Finstad, and you can find me on my website, which is paigefinstad.com, and on my Instagram, which is Paige Finstad.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me for
No.
firstly the mastermind and then today. And I'm so excited for listeners to just tune in. And if they have anything, while you're listening, if you have anything that dropped in, anything
Mm,
you want to share with me or Paige, come over to each of our Instagrams or both and let us know. We would love to hear from you. So thanks,
definitely.
Paige.
Thank you so much in all the ways for all the things.